I've got this camera here filming. It's not filming my crotch. Why am I filming myself on two cameras at once? Well, this is going to be my video about how I make videos. And how I make videos is like this. There's no gimbal, which is why it looks so like this. I use a lapel mic, so on the back, you can see there, this is really simple. And then I edit it on the phone. 128 gig on my phone, not bragging or anything, but that's quite a lot these days. And it's running out. And I'll explain later why that's going to be a problem for me. This is really strange. It's like I'm my own behind the scenes documentary crew. I do the scene like this. And if I want to get views from my forward view, I take a walk back and I start again. And this is me recording me. It's stuck up on a suction mount here, and there's my external mic going in here. In addition to having this set up, I can also mount one here. This is normally where I stick my phone when I'm listening to music or having it as a sat nav. This is my old videoing setup. Two cameras, camcorder and a GoPro, and this was pretty much how I used to work. The internal sound of my camcorder, shit. The internal sound of the GoPro, shit. I used an external audio recorder. Built-in mics of this, kind of shit as well. I used some audio from that, but mostly I used a lav mic. Sony would film my front view, what I was looking at. The GoPro would film me, and then I would cut backwards and forwards between the two, and that's my quick release. So without any kind of dicking around, I could just stick it straight on top of a tripod. I don't carry this thing around with me. It's a kid's skateboard that I chop the front and back off with a ball mount. This is now my current setup. I'm just going to show you how I edited that last segment. I did actually record me editing this entire episode, and it was dull. There's my little intro segment. I usually use about 3, 4, 5, 6 seconds of something that is humorous, maybe shows the tone of the video. My logo there. My logo is on a separate layer here. That yellow thing is the layer. Now I always have a fade to black in between the intro segment and the beginning there. Now because there's multiple layers involved, rather than using a fade to black transition, I've actually used a blank black background, which if you click on there's the transition in, which is a fade in, and fade out. The only reason is that layers don't work with the transition. The picture in picture, you can see I've got the main video there, and that's recorded on this phone. The second layer, which is me hand holding the camera, was filmed on this camera. The audio was recorded with my lav mic connected to this phone. So there will always be this footage on the main video layer. There's a cut there where there was a long pause, and I've cut that out, and you can see there where the original footage, if I highlight that and then turn the opacity down, you can see the footage from this phone, and then turn the opacity up, and that's what I'm showing. I put some B-roll here as I'm approaching the bridge, and again that's a separate layer. Things like the forward view, which there is, so that would be considered B-roll, and I use that, and switching between the different angles, I use it to hide edits. Sometimes there's not an edit, sometimes I'm very carefully, I'm trying to find something where I cut it up really small. Like here, I'm cutting out chunks of dialogue that either I'm umming and ahhing. There's something that I don't like. I try and keep the footsteps in time. It's It's a minor thing. People probably don't notice it. Like I'm coming up. My last footstep, I'm halfway up. And then here I'm already up and I'm stepping down. Now this bit here, it looks like one continuous take there. There's me. I'm talking about my camera. Talking about my old camera footage. There again, talking about my old camera footage. Here I'm talking about that camera thingy there. Now I'm talking about this and this and this. But if you scroll down, you can see where I've slipped the audio. So that section there is the audio straight as it came out of the camera. Here, that's an edit. Now I've added music to this already. So I'll use this track. It's a demo of a track that we later recorded with Respect BA. It's produced by Mr. Quiz, and I've chopped it up into sections. I'm going to change the view here, and so there's an edit here because there's scratching and other things in the original demo which distracted from me talking, so they're chopped out. So there's an edit here to cut out the scratching, go further in, another edit here to take out the scratching, edit here, take out the scratching, and there's an edit here to, because there was another minute or so of instrumental, and this is only a 2-minute video, so another edit here to jump straight to the end, and hopefully you can't hear it. It's worth saying that in KineMaster, none of this is automated. There are no handy options to synchronize footage. So if I'm using two cameras, I have to manually align the two different recordings so that the audio matches up, and so my mouth movements match up. So this section here, difficult. But once you've got the beginning of it, as long as you carefully edit it, so cutting it in a certain order, things don't shift out of sync, but it is very easy. Sometimes the effect of you accidentally touching something and changing the length of a clip can ripple down the entire project. But that's it. That's 2 minutes of footage. It's very basic, but it shows you the process.